What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm here at the beautiful Fairmont Grand Del Mar. I'm here on the driving range, and today we're going to talk a little bit about developing a practice routine. I've actually had a few beginners and those that are just now getting into the game tell me that they don't really know what to do when they go to the driving range, or what to work on, what to think of, how to be efficient. And so I'm going to walk you guys through my routine that I've used. Especially, this is the routine that I've always had when trying to play professional, and this is what I implement. Even now, I just don't do it as often because I don't practice as often anymore, but hopefully this will help you guys, give you a bit of direction in terms of how to practice whenever you're on the practice facilities. So here we go. So when you guys are on the range, I'm going to walk you through the order of clubs I like to use and just kind of like my thoughts on what I like to think of, so that'll help you guys. So I actually have my clubs set out over here, and I like to organize it from shortest club to longest club. You don't hit every club in your bag when you're trying to just practice on the range, but you want to make sure you gather every club, such as a wedge or a short iron, a mid iron, a long iron, a wood of some sort, and then a driver. So right now I have a 60-degree in hand and I have my alignment in place. First and foremost, if you don't have your alignment here when you're on the driving range, which is the most important part and it's just a very seamless step, then you don't have an efficient practice, because you can be working on all these things in your swing, but if your alignment isn't right, then it's all a wash. Everything you've worked hard for doesn't actually matter anymore for however long you're grinding. So I have my club down for alignment. I'm going at the red pin, kind of in the further back, 60-degree in hand, and what you want to do is start off with some short shots because you're warming up your body. Hopefully you've started with a bit of a stretch. You want to do some dynamic stretches, which are stretches where you're constantly moving, making sure that you're warming up your body. You want to make sure you're always preventing injury. So I have my 60-degree, and we're going to start with just some chips right here. So we're going at the red, always making sure that my grip, stance, alignment, and posture is in line. You want to make sure you're implementing that every single shot. So let's do some chips. Probably more like a pitch, but you can start shorter. Loosening up. And then as you get started, you can gradually start making bigger swings with your smallest wedge in hand. Also to note, if you can see these divots right here, to be respectful to the golf course, this is a little bit of golf etiquette for you. You actually want to make sure that you want to start your divot line from your furthest point and then come towards the camera. So that would allow the divots to kind of be one long line, and it's easier to help grow the grass back, and it's just easier for the attendants to take care of the grass. So you don't want to just have a bunch of blotchy divots like you see over here. You want to keep going in a nice line, and then you can start a new line and create that long dollar bill divot. So I'm going to go into pitching now. So bigger swings, being mindful of my posture and everything. So you're starting with a smaller club to just kind of warm up, really, but also because you want to start with the clubs where you develop feel. You want to have your touch. You can mess around with different shots. Sometimes I'll do like flop shots while I'm just warming up, but we'll just continue with the pitch shots here. Easy, and then I'll go into full swings with my wedges. Not gripping down anymore, being conscious of my alignment. Making sure I'm going in a divot line. Alright, so that's basically the way to start your routine. Now, the clubs that I have laid out right here, it's really up to you guys. If I'm doing a full practice routine, just grinding on the range, I'll usually go from, sorry, my club is really dirty. I'll usually go from a 60-degree, a 50-degree, And I like to get the feel for wedges because the wedges have a very sharp face and it comes different into the ground versus your irons. And so I go 60, 50, 9 iron, 7 iron, 4 iron, a hybrid, a wood, a driver. And you can eliminate some of those clubs if you're just doing a quick warm-up before you go play. I might take out a wedge, I'll take out a mid-iron, and I'll take out the hybrid, and I'll just go with like a 60 degree, a pitching wedge, a 6 iron, a wood, and a driver. So that's my order, so I'm gonna work up the bag. This is my 50 degree now. Okay. Now, whenever you are working on, your game on the range, as we work up the bag, you always want to make sure you find a target. And for me, I typically like to choose a target that correlates closest to the distance of the club. That way you have like an intent, you have a purpose when you hit, and I think just seeing where your ball goes is obviously great feedback. But for the video's sake, I'm going to just keep going down the line as we work up the routine of my practice. Here we go. Now I have a 9 iron in hand. All right, and that's my 9 iron. So for when you guys are practicing, and for those of you who are trying to work on something in your actual swing, once you have that grip, stance, alignment, and posture down every single time, I'm going to just burn that into your guys' brains. You want to focus on maybe 2-3 things max when you're on the range and grinding away. I mean, a golf swing is it's less than 2 seconds, and so to have the capacity to think of so many different things in your swing at once is just impossible. I truly don't believe that you actually get very far when you're trying to work on way too many things at once. Rather, change one thing in your swing and be very intent about it and move it just as much as you can, and then that way you're improving at least 10% every single day, so that at some point it'll be 100% with what you're working on. So for me, when I'm working on my swing, I mentioned it in another video, but I tend to lay off. You'll probably see it in some of these practice swings. So I keep it in mind, besides making sure my alignment and everything is in line, I make sure that my club, or my intent is to make sure that my club takes away outside my hands, and that's really the biggest thing that I'm focusing on, and just having solid contact and going from there. So now I'm going to move up the bag. Now I have a 7 iron in hand. Much better. All right, moving up. So now I have a 4 iron in hand, and now as we work up the bag, this is now officially a long iron, and I'm going to work up the hybrid, the wood, the driver. I think it's very important that when you're practicing on the range to be mindful of ball placement, and that you are constantly inching your stance a little wider every club, and that your ball is slowly more in front of your stance the bigger the club. I like to practice the 4 iron, well, I hate and love to, but the 4 iron is one of my worst clubs in the bag, and so I just like to focus on making sure I'm keeping that same speed, that same swing speed, because whenever I'm out on the course, I like to try and crush it because it's so de-lofted, but really it's all about just kind of sticking with the same plan and that same rhythm that you've been going on. So I'm missing to the right. That's gonna happen. Can't hit everyone perfect.
Yeah, we did some putting stuff.
There we go. Much better. You always got to end on a good note with every single club you use. Okay, so now I have my hybrid in hand. This is my 21 degree. It kind of plays as like, it goes further than a 4 iron, but it's what I use when I don't have the best of lie. I like to use hybrids and play them like woods, So as soon as you get to the longer clubs, you'll notice that it'll become more of a sweeping motion as opposed to a descending blow. So if you don't have too much of a divot with your hybrids, and especially your wood, you're on the right track. So this is the first time I'm hitting this, by the way.
Let's see it.
All right. Oh, it's so shiny. Wow.
Whew.
I think I need to put the 4-iron away and start using this because that was really nice. A little left, but still really straight. I'm happy with that. Not too bad. I swear these railways really help when you're trying to come through and make sure your path is going and is relatively at a zero. So I'm pretty pleased with this. I highly recommend this club. All right, you guys, so now I have my 3-wood in hand, which is actually my favorite club in the bag right now. For a lot of people, it's not their favorite club. Again, when you get to your woods, focus on that sweeping motion. And I think what's also good, which I haven't shown yet, is being able to go through your routine that you would do out on the course and practicing that when you're out on the range so that you have that repetitive routine in line. Like, it should just be like you can do it with your eyes closed kind of thing. I used to do that all the time in my sleep. Just think of my routine and make sure it's the same so that you have something to go back to and rely on and reset you every single time you start a new shot. So here we go. We got the 3-wood in hand. I'm telling you, this is my favorite club right now. We have Shooter McGavin on the other side of the range right now, and we can hear him from here. This one I'll go through my routine. So I look back at it, get my hands on the club, look for a target, make sure my club face is nice and square, my arms are nice and connected, feet are parallel, head, shoulders, knees, toes. Get relaxed, really relaxed. Give it a go. Much better. And so yeah, that is basically my 3-wood. And last but not least, I have my driver in hand. This is a favorite club that I know a lot of beginners like to go to first, but if you want to actually build a consistent swing, you want to work through the smaller clubs in the bag before you get to the bigger clubs in the bag so that you're warmed up and also you're not going to get an injury, because usually that's how it starts. You can pull something so easily if you just go straight to the driver. It's fun because you get to hit it off the tee. And so with the driver, when you're on the range, and I guess when you're playing, be mindful that because it's teed up, it's the one club in the bag that you are okay to hit on the way up. So the woods are meant to be really at zero. Irons are meant to be descending blow. Driver's meant to be hit on the way up. That's why the driver is set up more in front of you, and so be mindful of that and making sure that your G-step is all in line while you do it. So it'll look like this. Right? Got that little fade. Try and straighten it out.
Running the show down there, you said that we're trying to tear out. Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Just want to make sure you do when you're practicing is make sure you're always sticking your finish. You don't want to, I see a lot of beginners do this too. They'll swing and just like let the club retract and go like that, but you want to make sure that your intent is there, and holding your finish will actually give you so much feedback in terms of what happened with your swing. One more ball with the driver. Okay, that'll play. And that's basically me going through my entire bag. I'll usually hit maybe one large bucket and I'll break the balls down between how many clubs I decide to pull out and go from there. And then unless I feel like I've gone through my bag and I feel like one club or one section of clubs is not performing so well, I'll maybe go back, maybe touch up on my chipping or touch up and hit more drives. But besides that, that's basically how you want to structure your practices. This is a lot of the way a lot of tour pros do it. They'll always start with a smaller club, work the way up the bag, get warmed up, get stretched, focus on 2 to 3 things. I think that's the real biggest thing, but also when you guys go out to the course, I think it's important to narrow down your swing thought to just one thought and focus on that throughout the entire round, because if you're constantly switching your swing thought, especially when you're on the range, if you're focusing on 2 to 3 things and you constantly change your swing thought, you're also not getting anywhere. So that's food for thought for you right here. All right, you guys, I have walked you through my personal practice routine and what I think is most efficient. Hopefully this helps some of you guys who feel like you don't know what to do when you're out on the range. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you like what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications button so you don't miss a beat. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Ah.